Everybody's old AK ChalkOne from Battlefield Podcast with a little bit of a different video. About a week and a half ago on the weekend, I went down to the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo in, you guessed it, Calgary, Alberta, and shot a little bit of video with the iPhone, so it's kind of probably pretty shaky. But it was interesting because for me, living in BC, Canada, I'm sort of far removed from all the cool events that happen out there, like Comic-Con and PAX. PAX Prime I'm pretty close to, but you literally have to buy your tickets 20 seconds after they get released, so missed out on that. So I figured, you know what, Calgary is only a 7-hour drive away. Let's make that happen. And to talk a little bit about this experience, I'm joined by Athena, also of, I don't know, should I say YouTube fame? Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
YouTube fame?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's stretching it a little bit. But I do make YouTube videos, and I horribly... shamelessly put them up on the internet for people to see and watch and laugh at. So that's what I do.
And you're also Canadian.
And I'm also Canadian.
Yes.
Born and raised in Calgary, but I currently live in a little shitty city called Edmonton, which is about 3 hours north of Calgary. So yeah. I don't like to admit to that very often.
I know a few people who live there, but it's...
In Edmonton?
Yes, I know people who moved there on purpose.
Oh. At least I moved here through work, but
yeah.
It wasn't like it was. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That's awful for them.
So this Calgary Expo thing, I think I first heard about when you tweeted something at the beginning of the year.
Because I tweeted a lot about it, and I think you were the only one who showed any interest. People are like, what the hell is she going on about now?
Well, and this was still before PAX East, so pretty much everyone else on my Twitter was talking about PAX and Boston and this and that, and I'm kind of jealous sitting, on the other side of the continent. Exactly. This
was close to home, so you showed an interest.
Yes. And then the guest list actually started growing. They kept announcing bigger and bigger stars. I think the first ones that you mentioned that were there were Peter Dinklage and Lena Headey from Game of Thrones. That alone kind of drew my interest. It was like, that's pretty cool.
That was pretty exciting for me. And I think that's when I really started to get it and really understand, holy shit, this is going to be huge. Like, before that, I don't remember in what order, but it was like, some old, like, and no offense, but like Linda Hamilton and what's his name from, like, Terminator 2, like, older, not so, and the weird lady from Star Trek, oh my god, help me here.
Lady from Star Trek.
Yeah, Princess Leia.
Star Wars.
Or Star Wars.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my, Carrie Fisher. Oh my god.
I actually saw a little bit of her panel at the end of it. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm. I have a story to tell about her. But like, no real, like, old, washed out people. Is that really rude to say that?
Well, it was the kind of stars you would expect a Calgary convention to attract. It's sort of like the people where you're thinking, like, yeah, they haven't been on TV or in a movie in a while. They probably need the money.
Right, exactly. So I think it was when the Game of Thrones people were announced that I really started to think, holy, this could be big.
Yeah, and then it got bigger. Nathan Fillion signed on a couple of weeks after.
I had a meltdown.
Every woman on my Twitter list had a meltdown, whether they were going to go or not.
I actually, this is embarrassing, but I actually cried. I had real tears. I was so excited. There were real tears. I was really excited. Because what they did, Calgary Expo had a Facebook, or still does have a Facebook page. And every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m., not that I was, paying attention to the time or anything.
Of course not.
No, but they would announce new people that were coming, and at about 9:30 or 9:15 that day, often they would release a face, but then they would all pixelate it, so you couldn't really tell. But as soon as they released that, I knew that was Nathan Fillion. And for that half an hour, 45 minutes before the official announcement came, I had a total meltdown on Twitter. I was in tears. It was so exciting.
Yeah, they actually had a pretty good guest list. I mean, Stan Lee was there, sort of a staple at any comic-related convention.
Legend.
Who else was there that was sort of big? And Will Wheaton was there, who had a great panel, actually.
He did. Probably many people have seen his little clip from that panel on why it's cool or why it's okay to be a nerd. That was awesome. Eliza Dushku from Buffy Dollhouse fame. Richard Dean Anderson was there.
Yes, he was funny in a
Ian
different
McDermott.
way.
Richard Dean Anderson
Yeah,
was funny.
kind of.
How?
Well, in a sort of awkward, funny, why am I here sort of way.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Couple of people from Supernatural were there, and then there were some crossovers. Two people from The Walking Dead were there. Stephen Yeun, is that how you pronounce,
I believe so,
his name? And then Norman Reedus, who's Boondock Saints and Walking Dead. But then there was a couple other people from Boondock Saints there, or one for sure.
Yes, the other guy, Sean Flaherty
Flannery
or something Irish.
Yeah, Sean Patrick Flannery, I think is his name. A couple of people from Torchwood. There was even a couple of people from Lord of the Rings.
Yes. So it was actually quite a large guest list. Like when you were looking at the panel list, you kind of had to pick and choose because you clearly couldn't go to them all. At some point, you had to make a choice whether you were going to go to see Will Wheaton or Stan Lee or Nathan Fillion or Carrie Fisher, whatever. So
Yeah.
it was actually quite packed. It was technically 3 days, really, though the first day was mostly like a parade and everybody getting their badges and tickets and stuff. But do you know how many times they've done this before? At least once before, right? They do this annually, I guess, this convention.
Well, I read somewhere this was actually the 6th or 7th year. Yeah, but I think was it on their website? I read somewhere this was actually the 6th or 7th year, but it was just last year that, and I don't know how it works. Like it's my understanding there's a production company or there's something that obviously takes over these expos to attract the stars. I don't know. So whatever company, a new company or however it works, just took over last year. But this is like the 6th or 7th year technically. Yeah, but it's just getting bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the amount of things to do. I think they said there was about 60,000 people there. There was a lot of vendors. Like there was a whole exhibition hall with places where you could spend your retirement fund if you wanted to on geeky stuff. And you and I
almost did.
Well, you mentioned, I think I saw you mention on Twitter that there's so much nerdy stuff there that some of it's even too nerdy for you. There.
Well, true, but that didn't stop me from walking out with a $200 lightsaber.
Yeah,
I
bought one for $20.
Well, yeah, like this one's really cool, like really ultra cool, but I can't. No, it's not. And like when you turn it on, like it's got all the sound effects, like nice. Right, and then when you like hit something, like another person or something, or not, like it makes the noise like it does in Star Wars. And then when you turn it on, like I got early Luke Skywalker, not late Luke Skywalker. Okay. So when you turn it on, the glow, it actually goes up the lightsaber. Like right. It just doesn't turn on, it like graduates, and then when you turn it off, it graduates down. It's a $200 toy. There was
a lot of things like that to buy. I mean, everything. There was like, I think the Calgary Lego group was there, which I thought was kind of cool that they have something like that. It was just a ton of stuff, and we walked through there several times a day, and there was still stuff that, first of all, I kept getting lost every time.
Yeah.
Even though I thought, okay, I got it by the big T-shirt thing. That's where the concession is, and out to the train. And 10 minutes later, I'm like, where the hell am I?
Right.
There's people in costumes everywhere, and
the cosplay is well represented.
Yeah.
But the T-shirt, the massive tall T-shirt thing was your little go-to orientate yourself kind of thing.
It sort of was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was one-way exits, so you went out that and you couldn't go back in. But I think overall it was fairly well organized for directing traffic. Anyways, there's lots of volunteers everywhere that you could ask where to go. Like if you wanted to go to the Stan Lee panel and you had no idea, they usually direct you in the right direction.
It seemed like every 20 feet there was a volunteer.
Yeah.
And in that aspect, it was awesome. And I did not go last year. This was my first year as well, but I do know some people that went last year, and they said the improvements from last year to this year was huge. So,
well, hopefully that means that for the next one they can improve some more things as well. We'll get to that in a minute. A couple things I want to talk about that. But what do you think was your favorite experience for the whole weekend? Like, was it a particular panel or a particular person that you got to meet or something? Or
well, yeah, it has to go back to Nathan Fillion. So I had 3 photo ops. One with Lena Headey and Peter Dinklage. Another one with Eliza Dushku, and then the last one was Nathan Fillion. And it was exciting for Eliza, and like I was a little excited for Eliza. I was super excited for the Game of Thrones people, but walking up, the closer I got to my photo op time with Nathan Fillion, I was almost in tears again. Like,
I think I saw a few people like that when I was standing in line.
Yeah. So I didn't want to have, mascara running down my face for the photo op, so I held it together. But that was the best part of the expo for me.
Yeah, I think the photo ops were interesting. I'd never done something like that, but the Game of Thrones lineup, at least for the photo op that we were in, wasn't too bad. It was a bit of a wait, maybe 20 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. But the Nathan Fillion, I swear to God, I think we waited for an hour and a half. Just standing in line.
I think they oversold that, and from what I understand, they oversold for both of his photo op sessions on both days. But
it was so busy. Like, I mean, they'd shuffle you in, and I know that my girlfriend had ahead of time sort of worried, like, what do I say? Like what am I supposed to say? And like, don't worry, you don't have time. Nope, you just stand there and smile and get out.
That's basically, they do herd you through like cattle. Like, you just and you couldn't shake hands, you couldn't hug, you couldn't, right? So there was the I don't even want to say 15 seconds. There was 3 seconds of pleasantries when you first walked in, and if you were lucky, before they were like kicking you out, you might have been able to say thank you,
right,
or have a nice day or something. But yeah, that was one thing I didn't expect. I didn't expect to go in and have like a half-hour conversation with these people, but that was one thing. Seriously, from the time you walked in to the time you walked out was no more than 10 seconds. Would you say?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And you can tell that, I think in some point they kind of went like, look, we're charging $75 a photo. Can we get 10,000 people through this in 2 hours? If so, let's do that.
Right.
So you can kind of tell that's where the business aspect of it came in, because that was, I didn't stand in line for any autographs, but I would imagine from what I saw, people got a little bit more time doing the autographs, just because it takes them a little longer to sign the name. So it was probably a little bit more of an exchange of pleasantries there than the photo op. The photo op it could have been a cardboard cutout, to be honest. Like, if it wasn't for the $10, I would have stood next to a cardboard cutout of Lena Headey, and it would have been okay.
It's true. Yeah, it's absolutely true. But I didn't get any autographs either, and I'm glad I didn't. The prices of those were ridiculous in some instances, like Lena Headey, and I don't have the exact prices here, but it was along the lines of, $40 if you brought your own picture, $60 if you wanted to use one of her pictures, and like $75 if you wanted her to sign multiple things.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know, that seemed a little expensive.
It does. I think to be honest, the best value for the whole thing were those panels, because they were all 45 minutes long, and the ones that they did in the corral, which is basically, I don't know, an old hockey rink converted into, probably used for horse stuff at some point, and then it's basically like a hockey rink where you could fit a lot of people. Nice thing was you didn't have to wait in line. You could just walk in at any time, walk in and out, which was really nice, because after standing in line for a couple of the other panels like Will Wheaton, that was a bit of a mess.
Mm-hmm. I heard that.
But being able to just walk in and sit down was great. And yeah, you were far away from the celebrities, but I think they were most enjoyable because it was a lot of questions asked by the audience. I don't know, you got to see them be more natural. When they're doing the photo or the autographs, they're just standing there, probably trying to get through it just as fast as everybody else wants to.
Right.
So.
And I heard that the autographs too the interaction was up to you. If you were a real introvert, they didn't necessarily engage
Right.
either. But if you had questions, and depended upon them too. The girl at work that got several autographs, the most exchange she ever had was with Carrie Fisher, who just absolutely talked to everybody. But here's my gross and weird story about Carrie Fisher. They were standing in line, and they were about 4 or 5 people away now from getting their autograph.
Mm-hmm.
And Carrie Fisher brought her dog, Gary.
Yes.
Gary? Yes.
I think so.
I think that's his name. Anyway, she would, all throughout the lineup, she was feeding Gary, but she would put the food, which I'm hoping was human food, she would chew it first and then give it to Gary. Yes. She's a weird lady.
Well, she does have some, what is she? I think in the panel she said she's bipolar, so.
Yeah, and actually there was a doubt whether or not she would even be there, because she was doing some shows or some entertainment on a cruise ship in March, and she had a meltdown on the cruise ship, so she was hospitalized again, so I wasn't even sure she was going to be there. But I have no issues with her bipolar, her mental illness, whatever. It was just, that was a little weird.
It is a little strange, yeah.
Weird.
I'll have to admit.
That's a little weird, yeah.
But other than that, I mean, what do you think going forward? First of all, would you go again next year? And
count me in.
What do you think they need to improve on? Not like they're going to watch this video, but just I'm curious.
Honestly, my only complaint for the entire weekend was the lineup to get in. They had everybody funneled through one entrance that you had to go through, and it was only until about noon. But they didn't open the doors till 10. There were panels and autograph sessions that right at 10, but it took them an hour and a half or so to funnel through one door all the people that were there to get in. And that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you're going to a hockey game, you don't funnel 20,000 people through one door.
Nope.
Right? So that didn't make sense to me. And I know we went over to where the other building where the photo ops were being done, and then we went over to the main hall, and you had to go through the front door to do that, but they weren't allowing anybody through the front door. You had to walk all the way around the building to get in, and people that had already gotten in and then went through to get their photo op done weren't allowed to come back. So there was a lot. Yeah, the first couple of hours getting people in was probably my biggest complaint. Other than that, I mean, it was well done.
Yeah, I agree. I think I was surprised how well things were done. I was surprised at the guest list, and you know what? It was really encouraging and nice to see that an expo in Calgary could attract some of those names. And hopefully, when you get somebody like Nathan Fillion or some of the bigger stars, even though he was very humble in his panel saying that he's not, because somebody asked him about Uncharted, the movie,
right, and
whether he would star in it, and he's like, yeah, as you see them, like Mark Wahlberg's probably going to do it, and he's like way up here, and I'm down here. So,
right. But
hopefully that kind of stuff, I would assume, spreads to word of mouth too, right? I mean, you're going to get some of the bigger stars coming and attracting more people. And to be honest, I don't remember what the tickets were, but it was really reasonable.
$55 for the whole weekend for 3 days, right? There is one, the same company that puts on the Calgary one, there is one here in Edmonton in the fall, last weekend of September. And just last year, that same company took over the one here in Edmonton. And last year, it wasn't huge. A couple of people from Firefly were here. The original Batman, Ward. You know the guy. Anyway, Batman and Robin, the original, were here. It wasn't that big. I don't even, maybe 10, 12 celebrities. A couple of people from the original Star Trek were here. But I'm hoping because it's the same company that they're going to be able to attract. Because then I'd be able to get my fix on twice a year. Once in April and then once in September.
That would be nice.
What did you think of the cosplay?
Just like the outfits and stuff like that? Or? It was pretty interesting. I mean, I saw some really well done ones. I think there was a couple of guys who, I think they were guys, you couldn't tell, but they were wearing, no, because they were in full armor, and I think it was Mass Effect armor from like the Space Marine type outfits. And wow, it looked uncomfortable as hell to be walking in, but it was good. It was well done.
There was really good stuff there.
There was some of the typical sort of Japanese anime mega cleavage type stuff walking around as well. But
that
there was
you probably noticed more than I.
I don't know. I hope in the video that like I took some video just walking around the expo floor. I hope that my camera didn't like
cleavage?
just like automatically. If it did, it's subconscious.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it was pretty good. It was quite varied. I'll admit that there was a lot of outfits where I was like, I have no idea what that is, but that looks pretty cool.
That was me too.
You know?
Yeah.
But there was a few. There was a really good group of Batman characters, Batman and Bane and Joker. I saw a couple of really good Jokers.
There was, and it varied from, your $30 Halloween costume to more extravagant. Very well done.
Couple of really cute kids in like outfits of various superheroes and stuff.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I noticed is there was literally people there from all age. I saw people in their 60s, and then there were 8-year-old kids there. So
yeah,
that was neat.
And it was pretty family friendly. Some of the panels, some of the celebrities just dropped the F-bomb right off the bat, which was cool.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I guess something, if you're worried about that, if you got kids, to keep in mind. But yeah, I mean, you're right. There was all age groups. I mean, there was a lot of people in line with like babies in strollers and stuff like that. So they're starting them off young, which is awesome.
It is awesome.
And I think I'm going to put the link to that Will Wheaton speech.
I will give you the link to actually where all of the panels are. There's quite a few of them that I found out just yesterday, actually, that are free.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it is $14.95, I think, on Flip-On to view them all, but there are several that are free, so I'll...
And some of the good ones, too. It's not just all the quote-unquote smaller celebs that are free. There are some of the bigger name ones that are free, so...
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Anything new coming up for you other than hoping that the Edmonton Expo will attract some good guests?
No, I don't think so. My life is fairly boring and mundane. So.
No more snow, though, right? Please tell me there's no more snow.
There is no more snow. There's no more snow. The grass is green, the sky is blue, and it's beautiful here.
Good.
But that doesn't mean that sometime in May we can't get snow here. It's happened before. So.
Well, I will hope that doesn't happen for you. And for those of you watching, leave some comments, leave some likes, whatever, the usual stuff. This is what the last weekend, 4 days, is I think what it ended up being for me, because I spent a day driving there and a day driving back. But it was worthwhile. It was a little exhausting, but I think it was a really cool experience. And I think that anybody, especially if you live in Canada and you're sort of further away from the bigger cons, you should check it out. There's a couple of my friends from Saskatchewan that I tried to get to come over, but it didn't work out for them. But really
fairness, I don't know. This is the second biggest con in Canada, next to Toronto. It's even bigger than Vancouver.
Yeah.
So make your way out here next year.
And actually, Calgary in April is not bad. At the end of April, the weather was quite nice. So it's not all snow all the time. That's just a true story.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
All right. Thank you very much for joining me, Athena.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
All right. And we'll talk to everyone later.
Take care.
We thought you were going to be about 40 people. We saw this amount, and we both requested alcohol.
Well, it's primarily Canadian, so they're fairly harmless.
And I love, there's constantly a new wash of great new characters coming in, so I think that keeps it fresh for all of us. Every day I get to sets, there's sometimes a brand new actor, a major role, where I've never been. And, what?
He's gonna die.
Yeah, he's gonna die very soon.
We're safe.
No, they didn't ask me back for season 4. Sorry. You haven't read any of the scripts, have you?
Hi, this question is for Ms. Headley. About 6 weeks ago,
Oh my God, don't tell that story.
It's over between you guys. Just, come on.
Just get out.
Just get over her. I can't believe he's here. Give it a break, man.
Any other characters that you guys haven't done? What characters would both of you like to do in the future at any time? Any dream character?
I'd do Jon Snow. No.